Assalamu alaikum and barakatuh, my brothers and sisters. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring you peace, health, and happiness. Ameen. My name is Brother Matthew Richard. I am born and raised in Lockport, Louisiana. If you're familiar with Louisiana, if not, I'm pretty sure you know New Orleans, Louisiana. I live 30 minutes south of New Orleans. So growing up, I was born and raised Catholic. Because in Louisiana, you're born under the Catholic law. That's why Louisiana is the only state that has parishes. Parishes is the old way of parish law. The olden days, they built the Catholic church, and then they built the town around it. That's exactly how my town is. In the middle of the town is this huge Catholic church. So growing up, naturally, we're just born Catholics. I didn't really know too much about it. I just have not fond, but I have a few memories of going there. Obviously, it wasn't Bible thumpers. Bible thumpers is a terminology used to people who's always going to church regularly each and every day, almost each and every day, especially on Sundays, which is the Catholic Sabbath, and predominantly a lot of Christian Sabbath traditions. It's on Sunday. We went every now and then. I can say from my family and then the Christians I met is probably atypical Christian. Every now and then, especially when we're feeling really bad and we really want to be cleansed of our evil, because in a Christian belief is that you go to church, you pray to Jesus, we've forgiven our sins, and then we can go out and we can do whatever else we want. And that was the kind of thing that we did. But then as it got maybe in my teenage years, my mother, she changed to non-denominational. It's like born again Christian, where they throw you in the tub or the pool or the river or the bayou, whatever kind of water they have, they throw you in there. You say some words, I forget what was the saying, and then now you're born again. You're a born again Christian. It's kind of similar to, I guess, like Islam when you take the Shahada, how you kind of born again, and you per se you're cleansed of all your sins, but only the good deeds are there. That's the same thing as they believe, is that they're born again. And it was a non-denominational, which non-denominational, they don't have all the idolism as you would walk into a Catholic church. You would just see a cross there, but there would be no Jesus. They had the band, and everybody's screaming, hallelujah, and they feel in the spirit, and they have Bible studies and stuff. It was nice, great people, very, very nice, and I always loved community involvement and preaching a good words, they say. But also we wasn't too much into it. We go every now and then, and we wouldn't really study our Bibles. We'd only look into our Bibles when we walk into the church, because the pastor or the preach, when you walk into a church, he'll tell you, I talked to God last night. I know somebody out here in this crowd is going through hard times, lost a family member, lost a dog, their truck died. Kind of sounds like a country song, right? And then, as we know, educated people, these things happen in our life because good and bad happens, because we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala test us, good and bad. But as the preacher says, it's something that their belief is that God has you in a bad favor, as they say. He's not testing you per se. He's just angry with you, as a Christian belief, and this is why you're going through it. But in order to deal with this, he's going to tell you, turn to John chapter this one, verse this one. Then he's going to pick a sentence out of that. Then he's going to tell you to go to John or to Matthew chapter this one, verse this one. Then go to Luke, and then they skip around from chapter to chapter. They're cherry pick sentences. They put them together into this narrative on how to deal with the loss of the job or a family member. But this always didn't sit right with me, because just predominantly when you go to school, how they teach you is from chapter 1 all the way to the end of the book, whatever chapter it ends. And then after each and every chapter, what is there? There's chapter review questions. And those chapter review questions are about the chapter that you just read. It's not chapter review questions from chapter, after you finish reading chapter 1. It's not review questions about chapter 3 or 4. It just doesn't make sense. So this teaching inside the church didn't line up with the teaching that is predominantly taught anywhere outside of a church, especially in school. They teach from chapter 1 all the way to the end. In college, they teach from the beginning to the end. When you read a book, you read it from beginning to end. You don't skip around pages. So these things didn't make sense to me, but I didn't really focus on it too much when I was little. I was more so worried about running the streets and being in a lot of drama and stuff like that. Fast forward, I graduated high school. I joined the military because I knew I was going to join the military since I was in the middle school, which is about seventh grade. Because I understood that I didn't necessarily like school. I didn't have both of my parents in the home. I come from a broken home. I didn't have both parents there always grilling me, always telling me the significance of being in a book, studying, education, and stuff like that. I had a single mother who worked most of the night and slept most of the day. So we kind of, for the most part, kind of fended our own, and then we kind of had to self-check our stuff. She would ask, "Hey, did you do your homework? Did you study?" And I could tell her anything, and yeah, of course I did. And then she would just take my word and wouldn't believe it. But to have that overbearing parent to tell me how important the studies were, there it wasn't. So I didn't put too much involvement into school. I was around a lot of hustlers and around a lot of money makers, and that's what I wanted to do. So I didn't put the significance in school, so I understood school wouldn't give me a contract, a scholarship to go to anywhere because I just did the bare minimum. So I know the military was a good choice, and also it's going to give me an opportunity to leave Louisiana because, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me at an early age to always want to be around older people. Why did I want to be around older people? Because I understood, even though they wasn't at the pinnacle where I wanted to be, they were at least in their 30s, their 40s, 50s, sometimes 60-year-old people. My dad's friends I hung out with. They might have been drunks and druggies or not doing the best or just kind of living paycheck to paycheck or something, but I understood they lived this long, right? They were 30, they were 40, so they had years over me. So I can see what they did in their life. I can see where they went wrong, the choices that they made to get them where they were now. And I understood it was all the same choices they kind of made. To stay in a little small town, to say the same thing, same people, don't have the mindset not getting close with God, getting to drugs and alcohol, and I didn't want to, I didn't want to stay in that same mindset. I wanted to get out of there and see the rest of the world. So, and that's what I did. After I graduated in 2003, I joined the Navy, went to boot camp in Illinois. They sent me to A school in San Antonio, Texas, which was great. Texas is a beautiful place, mashallah. And then after that, I went to my first command in Japan. And from there in Japan, I went on my first deployment. I was on a Marine taxi, we call it. It's LHD, landing, haul, and docking ship. It's a big ship. It's about 850 square feet. It's a small city. I've been on all big ships, and then obviously it was the West Coast, the Japan, the military in Japan, they watch over the Gulf, and they also watch over like Korea and all the Asian islands and stuff like that. So I got to go to Dubai a few times, and that was my first interaction with Muslims, but I didn't really know anything about them. I never heard of a Muslim. And I don't remember even them discussing about Islam or anything. I just know, but every time you pull into a port, they give you a port brief. The port brief is the places that are off limits, the customs in the area, and what not to do and what to do. And I can remember, they said the ladies with the head covering, they didn't even say like hijab or nikah or something like that. They said the ladies with the covering, don't you dare look at them because you'll be arrested. And obviously that's very dramatic, but that's what they instilled in us. And I'll tell you, when we went walk at the It's called the Emirates Mall in Dubai, like Golden Tower or something. I don't know. I just know it's Golden something or Mall of the Emirates. Yeah, I just remember when I'd see the ladies with the nikah, the hijab, we definitely looked the other way because we were so scared that we was gonna be arrested, and they didn't have a SOFA agreement in Dubai. A SOFA is it's an agreement between the host country and the United States. If any military people get in trouble, that host country will turn us over to the military, and the military will take care of us. Since there's no agreement, you get in trouble there, you'll be in their jail. You know, they'll take care of you. You'll be under their laws. It won't be under military law. So we definitely want that because obviously we go to Singapore too, and we all hear the story of the how strict the rules and regulations are. You can't even chew bubble gum, you know, on the transits, you know, throwing trash, you know, cutting hands and stuff. You know, they give you all the big top. They'll make it very melodramatic and stuff like that. But, you know, obviously if you're following all the rules and regulations, you don't have nothing to worry about. But at that time, I wasn't always following the rules and regulations. You know, it was a typical, you ever seen any old Navy movies? After work, all the Navy guys go out and drink and party and stuff like that and cause a ruckus. That's pretty much the life. That's what we did, unfortunately. But so that was my first experience and with Islam, but it didn't drop any seeds or anything. All I knew is that okay, don't look at these people with the but it didn't set anything in my head. I didn't think about it. But fast forward to so I went to Japan, then I went to Washington State. My third command, Naples, Italy. Now in Naples, Italy, obviously I'm already 8 years. I'm getting older, so I'm starting to settle. As we get older, we start to settle down more. We start to reflect on life more. So I started to calm down. I want to settle down. I'm looking for a long term. I'm looking for a long term wife. So I don't know if I was married at the time. Eventually, I had got married there with my now ex-wife, my daughter's mother. But the point of the story is, I met a guy called Ben Hamadi. my brother Ben Hamadi. He's from Tunisia, and he was a Muslim. Now this was the first time, in my real experience with a Muslim, and I really. Not one time out of the whole 3 years, we were good friends because we did business together. I'm always very business minded. So we bought and sold cars. He was the connection for outside with the Italians and stuff because this guy was smart. He knew like 4 or 5 languages. And I was on the military base, so I had the buyers on the military base because there was always people coming and going. So we started with the business, and then we became good friends. He was always at my house. Even at the parties, we had like a little get-togethers of parties at my house. We were drinking, of course. He didn't drink or anything like that. He was just there, and he would ask me sometimes if he can pray. I said, yeah, of course, go ahead and pray. Not one time did I ask him why does he pray? Why doesn't he drink? Why doesn't he party? Not one time did he try to give me dawah or anything like that. Because of my bringing, my mom always tells us to give respect to everybody. In order to get respect, you have to give respect. Each his own. Everybody is different, and differences is a great thing. It's very positive. You can learn from others. But not one time did I ask him about his religion or his belief. That was just in my uneducated thinking that this is what he does. Is where they from. And this is what I do where I'm from. It's cool. If I was born over there, I would have been like him. I'm not knowing that this is a worldwide religion and anybody can be in it. But that was just my miseducation. As a lot of people, as you know, are miseducated on the religion. So fast forward to my last and final command, which is here in San Diego, California, which is the USS Macon Island, another amphib, another LHD landing, haul, and docking ship. I had a good friend, African American brother. He wasn't a Muslim. I think he was an Israelite, like the Hebrews, and he believed that Jesus was just a prophet and stuff like that, And he was telling me, he was dropping little seeds on me about like holidays and the paganism traditions of where it originated from, and then in the life about Jesus, peace be on him, and how it was changed to December 25th. So he was dropping a little knowledge and here and there. And obviously, as my mom always taught me, take everything with a grain of salt. Trust but verify. The military tells you that. Trust but verify. Go look. Go research. College will tell you that. Research. School, they'll tell you. Any schools, they should tell you, go research. Don't just take, everything at face value. You want to have a specific a scholar talking about it, or peer reviews on what does all the scholars say about it. Find out. And so that's what I did. I started doing a little bit of research, and I seen that things what he was talking about really didn't match up from my historic studies, but that kind of stayed there for a little bit. It was a little seed that was growing in my head as I was thinking about it. And come to 2015, this is when I really, really, really reflected on everything about my life, because in 2015 I came from back from my last and final deployment with the military, and this was the time I was done. I did 12 years in the United States Navy, working each and every day, 18 hours a day. I didn't feel like I was growing anymore. I wanted to make more money. I wanted to do more things, and I wanted to be my own boss and start my own businesses and stuff. So I got out of the military, and that's also the same year. Within a couple months, I got divorced from my now ex-wife. So that gave me a lot more time to reflect, and as I reflect, just looking on my life, my daily life, just reflecting on what I'm doing, where I'm going. I've always reflected. When I was younger, I reflected on it. All throughout my life, I reflect on it. That time. I reflected on even more. I felt like a hamster on the wheel. The hamster on the wheel analogy is, you're on the wheel, you're working all week. And on the weekend, I'm getting off, I'm having my food and drink. And then on the Mondays, I start back on the wheel. I was like, then I had the epiphany, and I was like, is this it? There's got to be more than this. I need to do more. I felt emptiness. So I understood that. Like I said, I come from a good Christian background. We'd have faith. We believed in God. So I understood there's only one way I know is to go to the Creator. So I asked God directly. I didn't use no mediator, no third person, nobody. I talked directly to God, the Father, Allah, Yahweh, whatever you want to call him, whatever religion. He is the creator of all the heavens and earth, right? That is the person we're talking about, the creator of the heavens and the earth. Now I asked him for guidance. I said, God, please help me. I need guidance. I want to be closer to you. And after I said that prayer, I didn't sit on my couch and wait for somebody to knock on the door, because I'm logical and I'm realistic. I know that's not how life works. I know you have to do your part as well. You ask God's help, and then you got to go and start looking up, researching, or doing what you need to do to get the answers. And don't stop until you get it, right? It might not ever come. It might take a long time to come, or it might come right away. But mine was pretty quick, because what I did, all I knew, the only book I knew from the Creator, right? Everybody has you were created. Everything created has a manual, just like your car, right? You go to the glove compartment, there's a manual there. What that manual tells you about your vehicle, how to properly run your vehicle, how to create longevity, maintenance. It's the same thing. So I went to my drawer, grabbed my King James Version Bible, and I started to read. I started to research into it to see what its message was, how I'm supposed to be living, what I'm supposed to be doing. Where's those answers I'm looking for? I didn't get past Genesis. I didn't get past probably third or fourth page in there, like to chapter 2, which I understood that this is not his manual, because there's so many inconsistencies. There's so many contradictions. You turn in Genesis, it talks about what God created the larger light to rule the day, the smaller light to rule the night. Well, the moon is not a light, it's a reflection of the sun. Then it talks about Adam was created, then the animals, then the next chapter talks about the animals were created than than Adam. I was like, well, which is it? And then it talks about genealogy, and then that's also it didn't make sense, and there's so many contradictions. Like, well, I know God is perfect; He doesn't make mistakes, so this can't be it. So I got on the internet, I went on to Shape Google, and I started looking up things and questions, predominantly. In my study, I'm looking about Jesus, peace be unto him, because if you study comparative religion, different religions and stuff, a lot of faith base is about Jesus. Who is Jesus? Is he a son? Is he God? Is he a prophet? So I'm looking at that, and I'm starting to see some things that's catching my attention by some gentlemen with some beards, and it's really catching my attention. I'm looking at these guys, and these guys, their name was Yusuf Estes, Yusuf Evans, Sheikh Ahmed Dida, Sheikh Dr. Zakanak. Who else? Who I watched on YouTube? The Dean Show. On Dean Show was Dr. Lawrence Brown, Dr. Gerald Dirk. Most of these people except for Dr. Zakanak and Ahmed Dida. Well, not Dr. Zakanak was a Muslim, born Muslim. I'm not sure about Ahmed Dida. He might have been born Muslim. I don't know, but I know the rest. They were all reverts, and they were saying the same things that I was questioning about, like why are we here. Questions about Jesus, peace be unto him, and what they were saying made a lot of sense to me. And I was like, well, who are these guys? Who are these brothers? I was like, what is their religion? What is their belief? And I found out it was Islam. Well, I was like, well, I need to find out what is their book. They gotta have a book. They gotta have a manual, right? Telling probably how to guide them. So I found out it was the Quran. So I need to find this Quran right away, right? Because when you're finding the truth, when you're looking for the truth, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He takes the veil off your eyes and unlocks your hearts, like it says in Surah Al-Baqarah, you have that fire. And I'm 32 years old at the time. And I'm like, well, I'm 32 years not knowing. I'm already, I know tomorrow is not a promise, so I need to find it right now. I need to find the answer. Let me get to it. So I'm calling around all these bookstores trying to find this Quran, and they don't know if they have one. Maybe it's upstairs behind the third shelf at the top. I have to go look and send a guy. It's like, oh, no. And I remember online, the Dean Show and Sheikh Yusuf he said you can call and they'll send a book, but I know that's going to take a few days, and I want it right now. So fast forward to the next day or the weekend or something, me and my girlfriend at the time run at Balboa Park, went to do a workout. And then I seen, as we got into the middle where the fountain is down the road, I seen they had a booth with Christians talking about hell, fire, and damnation if you don't believe in Jesus. Like, oh, well, I know these guys are not it, because I was a Christian. I understood the truth about that. Then I seen some atheists, and they're talking about, they had a sign I can remember vividly. It said, do whatever you want to do, live your own life. We're all going to be worm food at the end of the day. I was like, well, this is, these guys don't believe in a creator. They believe in the Big Bang Theory. They believe in something came from nothing, which is just beyond all logic, which is beyond the scientific method and beliefs, which predominantly a lot of these atheists believe is science. They're all scientists and stuff, which they go right outside of science on believing something came from nothing. So I was like, oh, no. And as I'm walking, I see some guys with beards, and they had some nice signs. And I was like, oh, these brothers, these are Muslims. And I seen they had the books of the Quran. I was like, I told my girlfriend at the time, I said, let me go and talk to these brothers. Give me a minute. And she went and sit down, and I went to talk to the brothers, the good brothers from Master Yoruba. I remember who was there. It was Brother Abdul Aziz, Brother Wajid, Brother Mehdi. I don't know if Sadat was there at the time. I don't think so. But I know Brother Abdul Aziz and Wajid and Mehdi. But they were busy at the time, and Brother Abdul Aziz started talking to me. He was asking me questions about what I believe, where I'm from, and my background. And he told me, he's like, brother, I can remember January 28, 2017. He's like, brother, he's like, you're 99% Muslim. I was like, well, how do I become 100%? And he said, brother, just take the Shahada. I said, okay, let's do it. I took Shahada and Alhamdulillah, I became Muslim. And ever since, I've never looked back. That was January 27th. No, January 28th, 2017. And ever since then, inshallah, I try to, look more and more into it. What really drew me to Islam is just like everybody told me throughout my life, the good educated people in my life, my mother and stuff. They always told me to, do research, find out into it. And that's what I really liked about Islam. Because I come from a faith base that tells you don't look into it. Don't question. You question in God once you start asking questions. You have the devil into it. The priests and nuns will told me at the time. I don't know about anybody else's experience. I'm just only talking from my experiences that they told me. The nuns, you must have it when you question. And, the pastor, the priest pat me on the back and he told me, brother, we don't, or no, he didn't say brother. He said, my son, because, they call him father. And he's like, my son, we don't know all of what God has to reveal to us, which never is that with me, because I know there's faith in it, but it's not a lot of blind faith. There should be answers to some basic questions of why we're here, what we're doing here, why did God create us. They didn't have those answers, They are in some of the answers they would say is very circular reasoning, very straw man arguments and stuff like that. That never really, thanks Alhamdulillah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me with an analytic mind and very inquisitive to question things, So from that I understood that I became, I really lost my train of thought where I was going, but alhamdulillah I became Muslim on during 27. Oh yeah, I remember I was just each and every day I tried to look and to study. The reason why I came or really attracted me to Islam was about the questioning and said research. And then when you read Surah Al-Baqarah, it tells you how to look more in depth and what happened, that God had a veil over your eyes and a lock on your hearts. And the great opening of it is a very great introduction to Islam and stuff. And everything was very logical, very easy to understand. You didn't need to know Coney Greek and any other languages. And I understood that if God's going to speak, if his message is going to be for the whole world, even the layman, even an uneducated person is going to be able to understand his message. And that's what Islam is. Very easy to understand and straight to the point. And it's also very deep, because the more you read on, the more deeper you go. I know there's videos, hours, like days and days lecture just on the word alhamdulillah, of how deep this religion is. And each and every day I learn about this religion. It gets me closer and closer to Allah. And this is what I pray. I get closer and closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala each and every day. In the same place where I did the Shahada, I try to, as much as I can, inshallah, when it's available, to go in there and do dawah, because I know I can relate to Christians more, because I come from that life. I know how they're taught. I know the mindset of a Christian. I understand that this is what they were born, and this is what their mother, their grandmother, their family, their whole community believes. So me coming and tell them just straight up that, oh no, it's a lie, that won't work, because who are you? Who are you to tell me that this is wrong, that my mom is wrong, my father's wrong, my whole life around me, they're all wrong. All it is for our job is to give the message, just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, just like Prophet Muhammad says, just give them the message, lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? Just give them the message, tell them about it, tell them about all the prophets, give more. So that's why I like Sheikh Yusuf Estes, right? He always talks about building a bridge between each religion. Show them the good things. Show them the things that are similar, because if you study religions, you'll see a lot of similarity in it, because, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, is that he sent a messenger to all nations, right? And as far as we know, we can see some remnants of the word of God in these different religions. As in Christianity, they have the same story of Adam, Noah, Moses, Abraham. Yeah, there's definitely differences in the story, but there's also similarities. And we what we can believe from their Bible is what matches up to the Quran, inshallah. And for the bullet points that the brothers asked me for, oh my, it's my family's reaction. My family's reaction for the most people, not all. I don't think all my family knows that I'm Muslim, but I know the close few that know. It's like my mom. My mom always accepting of anything, and then I'm very close to my mother. You know, my mom, as long as I'm doing good and I'm doing good for the people around me, I'm not harming myself, I'm not harming people around me. my mom is fine, you know. And inshallah, you know, I drop seeds and I give her dawah as much as I can. Just recently I was talking to her. Every time I talk to her, I give a little bit of knowledge. I send her videos, you know, and slowly but surely, as she gets older, she's reflecting more on it, inshallah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide her and guide the rest of my family to the truth and to Islam. But just like myself, I understand that everybody has their own path and their own way. All I can do is just give them a message. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala controls the heart. Advice for anybody who is looking for the truth, that would depend on what the truth is for you. You know, I would say everybody has the inclination of why we're here. I think at one time or another, we had that question of why are we here, what we doing, why we were created, is this it? You know, from my personal experience, from people I'm talking to, my studies, I've understood this to be true, that people have this inquisitive nature of why am I here? Why I was created? What is this world for? You know, I would say research that. If you're a theologian, you believe in God, you know what your religion is. Even if you're a Muslim, you know, research. Don't just be a Muslim because your family's a Muslim. You know, find out. I'm going to tell you, yes, Islam is the truth. Yes, Islam is the true word of God, and this is your manual. Just like your vehicle has a manual, it's going to tell you about longevity and what you do and why you're here and how to live your life the proper way. But only you can find that, and you should find that. Don't just do it because your family has done it. You know, research it, look into it. You know, because you want to have that confidence that you are. Because I've seen, you know, doing dawah and stuff, I've seen some people who left Islam. They wasn't, in all the cases, they were people who just did it because their family did it. And then they got subjected to the Western life, which is the United States of America. And then they started seeing, you know, all these Christians. And then a lot of times, their family members, friends, or parents overseas told them bad things about the West, how evil, the Christians are, and then what happens? They come over here for school, and then some nice Christian family brings them into their house or welcomes to their house, or they run into a nice Christian family and they start talking, and they start to see that they're not as evil as what they were grown up to believe. And then what happens? Like, well, they lied to me about that. What else did they lie to me about? And then obviously the Christians, the Bible thumpers, well, they lied to you about Jesus because Jesus is God. And then they'll go into that and come to the church and, you know, hallelujah and kumbaya. And then eventually they'll start to disbelieve, because once you lie to them about that, it's like, oh, what else did you lie? And they say, well, I guess you probably lied to me because you wasn't secure in your religion. You just did it because your parents did it. You might not have been in the Quran. You might have been learning. You was just doing it because your parents made you do it. So I would say get secure in your beliefs. Research, read the Quran, read the Hadiths, read the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You know, find out really why you're here. Just don't do it because other people are doing it. Other religions as well, Christian, Judaism. Don't just do it. Don't just follow that way because this is the way, because it was passed on from generation to generation. That's why I did it. So my parents did it. My ancestors before me, their beliefs were their beliefs because that's what we grew up in. You know, the nature and nurture. We are who we are from the nature and nurture around us. But is that the right? If you have the inclination in your heart to want more and to be closer to God, you need to find out if you're on that right path and study and research. Don't just follow. Don't just do a quick Wikipedia. Don't just do a quick Google search. You definitely have to find scholars of that belief, and then all what the scholars have to say. And like I said, you have to look the truth of Islam, and then all of what Muslims have to say. That there's no such thing as Sunni, Shia, and stuff like that. If you look in the Quran, you'll never find that, right? You only see a Muslim, right? What is a Muslim? Muslim is a person who submits their will to God. If you submit your will to God, then you are a Muslim. You are a believer. It's the same thing as Adam, Noah, Moses, Abraham, Jesus, and Prophet Muhammad SAW. They were all Muslims. They were all submitters to God. But if you study their life in any religion, you'll see that same trend. What their message was: believe in God, believe in Allah, believe in the Creator of the heavens and the earth, love your neighbor, give to charity, take care of the poor. This is the commandments in Christianity. This is predominant. This is the commandments in Islam, the tenets in Islam. This is tenets in Judaism, Taoism, Buddhism. You can see it all in there, and obviously, all of those religions outside of Islam, they go astray, and they have contradictions, because then they go on to talk about other people of God or other beliefs in God. So you have to look at all those things. You have to compare. What are those prophets doing? What are their message? Compare it. Does it align up? Does it have any contradictions? Does it match up with the medical facts that we know, the scientific facts? Why? Because God created all the heavens and earth, right? He created everything. So everything that he created on a systematic workings as it works, they all should align. They all should align. They all should match up to what God says, just like the Quran talks about. The Quran talks about so many things. It talks about science. It talks about embryology. It talks about the water cycle. It talks about the mountain. It talks about a lot of great things, and it all matches up with the facts that are known in science, with medical facts. It all aligns. So I would say just do your research, inshallah. Thank you for your time, my brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.